I'm going to kind of go all over the place in today's video. I'm just going to do a vlog type of video today and not have a specific topic. There's a lot of things going on, and just we'll cover all the topics and kind of keep you up to date on what it's like to live off grid, I guess. So as you know, a couple days ago, I worked on the truck. Now, the videos may be out of order, and I'm sure yesterday everybody got confused. My videos are a day late. So I record today and then tomorrow it's released. There was some updates yesterday's video in the comment section that you may have read and you're confused, so don't be too terribly confused. So as I told you in the video, 2 days ago, the thermostat appeared to have went out. I think it went out. I'm sure it went out. I think it stuck open. It overheated because it was low on fluid. I told you in that video that it was low on fluid because I think the indicators to tell you what it full is on the reservoir isn't correct. I think it's got to be more than what the indicators suggest. So about once a year I got to add antifreeze. Well, we were down at the conservation area trying to enjoy the pretty day, and it overheated. So kind of ruined our pretty day drive, which is important. So I pulled over as fast as I could and put more antifreeze in it and got back on the road, and it was cold. It didn't budge, it was just cold. A few days later, after a lot of testing, a lot of researching, and researching was the most important thing, I decided I was going to get brave and do it myself. Change the thermostat myself. First time this happened, I took it in. It's behind this tire, way back here, so it's not a spot that I thought would be too friendly to a guy who doesn't have a lot of tools. Now, I know a lot of people seem to think I need a lot of tools, but this is kind of the minimalistic life. I don't have a lot of things to repair. The generator, and that's about it. The car, I'm more apt to take in because nowadays cars are just a little bit more than I understand with the computer systems anymore. But if it's a minor repair that takes a 10 millimeter and a 15 millimeter, then I can handle that. That's what it took. 10 millimeter and I think a 15 millimeter and a screwdriver. So I did it on my own. We drove all the way, 40-mile round trip to go get the thermostat. Came back home and I started working on it. It was about 9 o'clock and it didn't take long at all. It was not complicated, but had I not watched a bunch of YouTube videos, it would have been pretty nightmarish. And the reason it would have been nightmarish, well, first of all, you would have had to have found it. You can't see it. So watching the videos did help. Now, admittedly, I didn't know where it was at because the first time this happened, I researched it then too. So I'm considering that part of the research. But then I really dug into the research and I started to buy a thermostat off Amazon and changed my mind. They had two of them. It was the electric connection that was different on each one. These new thermostats, they have to have electrical connection. I guess it's the sending unit for the temperature gauge. Went to AutoZone, picked one up, and came back. Changed it out. Sitting here in the driveway, it was heating up just fine. No problems. But as soon as I got on the road, it would instantly start cooling off. And so I wasn't sure what it was. It didn't make sense, other than the new thermostat was bad. But even that, I was a little not convinced that it was the thermostat, but from a lack of anything else that I could understand, I assumed that the new thermostat was bad. So I ordered one off Amazon, and it's supposed to be here in 2 days. One day after you get this video. And I thought, that's no big deal. I can change it again and see what happens. Well, my plan was, I talked to Dad, and he said sending unit, the temperature gauge sending unit, which I had considered. But the thing is it just didn't make sense. If it was the sending unit, why does it heat up in the driveway, but not when I'm driving? It just didn't make sense. You would think if it was a sending unit, it would be consistently doing something, whatever it's doing wrong, the entire time. But it was very consistent. Driving, it cooled off. Sitting in the driveway, it was fine. So I made a video, told you all what was happening, and I wasn't convinced that I fixed the problem in that video. I left it the end of the video kind of where you were hanging. And I was telling you what I was doing was burping the system, trying to get the air bubbles out of the cooling system when I left off at the end of the video. So we took it for a test drive that evening, and sure enough, it cooled off, so it didn't fix it. Well, I released that video. I don't want anybody to be offended when I say this. There is a real reason, and as soon as you hear the reason, I think you're going to say, oh, that makes sense. But typically, I don't take any advice from the comment section. But the reason I don't is I feel like that if I'm going to live off grid, it's my responsibility to figure out how to do things. Building a tiny house, I wanted to not rely on YouTube comment section to teach me how to build a tiny house. So I did my own research. I asked my dad. So those are the resources that I would have had available had I not been a content creator on YouTube. That's how I handle my YouTube comment section. If I was not a content creator, can I do it myself? When I posted that video, I knew everybody was going to be telling me what to do. And I had already planned on just not listening. But one person said, hey, I've got a 2018, mine's a 2015, Chevy Colorado, and I took mine into the mechanic. He said he had to reset the computer. And I thought, oh, one of the videos that I watched briefly mentioned it, and I kind of just tuned it out. But as soon as the guy who had the 2018 Chevy Colorado said it, I remembered one of the videos said it. So I asked him, how do you reset it? Well, he didn't get back with me. Somebody else did, and I appreciate it, but I had already Googled it, and there's a big-time YouTuber, Scotty Kilmer, who had a video on it. So I just followed his instructions. And then when I came back in, I saw that someone had basically told me the same thing Scotty Kilmer told me. I mean, there was a little bit more to it with Scotty Kilmer, so I just followed his advice. What you do when you reset the computer is at least that's what Scotty Kilmer said, at least that's what I did, is I disconnected the positive and negative battery cables. You lay a towel on top of the battery, that way nothing can touch it, the post, and then you take a wire and you run it from the positive battery cable to the negative battery cable. Now, nothing's going to happen. But what Scotty said is it kind of discharges any residual electricity in the system. I'm sure there's capacitors in there that's holding some charges and different things. Now, he said that if you have these really high fancy cars like Mercedes or something, don't do this. As a matter of fact, don't take my advice at all. Take Scotty Kilmer's, go watch his video. After you watch this one, of course. And then he said, turn on the headlights and then wait. I don't remember how long he told me to wait, but I figured, well, I'm just going to come back in, answer some comments in the comment section because my video had just released. So I sat there probably maybe half hour, 45 minutes. I just wasn't in a hurry. I hooked the battery cables back up to the battery. I actually cleaned the battery a little bit. Started the engine, turned the air conditioner on like he told me to, revved it up for 5 minutes with the air conditioner on. And then I shut the air conditioner off, revved it to 2,000 RPMs. Revved it up after the air conditioner was off for 2,000 RPMs for 5 minutes. And it heated up. It didn't heat up when the air conditioner was on, but it did heat up as soon as I shut the air conditioner off. So I was still a little skeptical. Why didn't it heat up when the air conditioner was on? I left it run, probably 20 minutes or so. And the temperature maintained just fine. It was heated up, everything was perfect. So I said, Carolyn, let's go for a ride, because she likes going for the ride. So we got in the truck, took it for a ride, and it held temperature. Oh, this is great. It hasn't done this in a week. And we took it for a long extended drive. I don't know, maybe 15 miles. Held temperature the whole time. Well, my concern was the truck was already heated up in the driveway. So today we took it for another drive. And this time we didn't heat it up in the driveway. We just stuck it in gear and took off. And within 3 miles, because, well, I know exactly 3 miles, it heated up. It was up to temperature. So we went ahead and resumed our trip to the conservation area, because the conservation area was only 3 more miles down the road. So we went down there and enjoyed our day today. Now, here's something, switching subjects, now that the car is over with, but it was a nice transition. I've talked to you a lot about the well. And a lot of people have concerns that my well is too old, that it will run out of water. And it is a concern. It's been a very big concern. I mean, it's only 100 feet deep. If it runs out of water, what you really need to do is dig you a new well or dig this one deeper. So and that would be a $5,000 bill. However, there is a natural spring half a mile from me, maybe 3/4 of a mile. I'm pretty convinced that my well feeds that natural spring. So there's a natural supply of water underground in the bedrock up here on this mountain. We're 100 feet above that natural spring. So it makes sense that they drilled down 100 feet, tapped into that natural spring. There's water there, just constant river of water flowing. Well, on the other side, so that's north. South, about 3 miles, there's an artisan well in some guy's yard. He's made a fountain out of it. It's pretty cool. Artisan well means it's blowing out of the ground. There is a natural flow of water, I'm assuming coming from the south to the north. We're right in the middle. I feel like I know where it's coming from. There's a stream of water. I don't know where it comes from. I haven't really researched much, but it's not that far. And that's at the conservation area that I just went to today and the other day when the truck overheated. So it's a nice place. I've taken you there before when we dropped off some raccoons. Well, today we went back and I saw that there is another natural spring there. This one isn't fixed up. I've showed you this one down the hill. It's fixed up, got concrete walls around it. This one's just right out of the hill. They've got a road to it, and you wouldn't be able to get much water out of it because they haven't built it up. So what you would have to do is take some boards and kind of go around it so the water would level up a little bit so you can get water out of it. But it's a conservation area. I mean, it's owned by the state. I'm surprised that there are so many natural springs around here. The one natural spring, they built a city around, a town around, back in the early, I would imagine, 1800s. And the town is named, well, I'm not going to tell you that, but the town is, it's obvious that everything is named around that spring. But there's so many of them around here. Why isn't there towns around every one of them? So, but it's neat. And I'm very happy that there's so much water around here. And if anything ever did happen as well, there's plenty of areas that I can go to now that has water, natural spring water. I don't know if you could actually get it out of the conservation area. That might be illegal. I doubt it. I mean, all through the state parks and national forests, there was springs and you get water from them. So, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about is this new Power Smart generator. It's a year old now, it's not new. But these generators have a low oil shutoff. Now, the old generator I had, it burned oil pretty bad. I mean, really bad. Yeah, I didn't have to change the oil in it because it would just run out of oil constantly. But this one, I've never had a problem with. I changed the oil every 5 gallons of gasoline. So when I get 5 gallons running through here, I change the oil. That is less than 50 hours. And I run it pretty hard. This morning I got up and I tried to start. This thing always starts on the first pull, unless it's really cold, then it takes 2 pulls. But it wasn't really cold this morning. And I'm pulling and pulling. Well, all you got to do when you are pulling the rope is look, and you can see that these red lights come on. So there's an oil indicator right there. I don't know, maybe you can see that. But when you pull it, that one will light up red. I checked it and I pulled it and it was red. So I pulled the dipstick out. Of course, it's 4:30 in the morning. Well, maybe 4:45. And I got my headlamp on and I open it up and I pulled the dipstick out and it's got half of a dipstick of oil left. If I would have checked it, I would have thought, oh, this is fine. I mean, you could add more, but it wasn't that low. With the other one, the dipstick was always completely dry. There was no oil on it. Just wanted to warn you, if you get one of these, they're really nice. But if you get one of these, the oil level has to be pretty high. It doesn't give you much leeway. The shutoff is much higher than the dipstick. Now, coincidentally, I am out of gas. just ran out yesterday. So I was going to change the oil in it anyways today. So it wasn't a big deal. I just thought it was odd that this is the first time it has ran out of oil. That being said, I have reduced the power load on it here recently, so it's getting better gas mileage. I used to run 2 battery chargers on it, so that was 35 amps of battery charger I was running. Well, now I've changed that and I'm only running 25 amps. I've dropped the 10 amps off of it, so I'm getting better gas mileage. So I suspect that I've just never done that, so maybe the oil level always drops down there, and it's just coincidentally 50 hours or 5 gallons of gas. So that's been my day. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video about the truck. So I hope I can inspire you to have a good day when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.